This is for some of those people off of Car Talk. You'll hear a lot of people debating about using the slide stop versus slingshotting the slide. Both methods are perfectly acceptable as long as you're feeding from the magazine. A lot of people that will actually wind up jamming the gun doing a slingshot because they are not properly doing it. What you'll see a lot of people do is they will take their hand like this and simply grasp with their thumb and their index joint, just squeezing like this. And what usually winds up happening is they'll also ride it home a little bit, and that slows it down. A proper method is actually to take your whole hand, put your palm against it, grab with all your fingers, rack all the way back, and keep pulling until your hand slides off. That's going to give you your maximum speed. Very, very similar as using the slide stop. Very similar speed, as fast as the gun can go without being shot. And now, with that being said, a lot of people are worried about jamming the gun. I don't know if it's true on the polymer cars, since I only have a metal one. I did not try this on my old polymer one. But at least on the full-size cars, at least when they're broken in, and they're properly lubricated, and they're properly fitted, and they have in-spec mags, which basically says you have a properly designed gun. These are Spear Gold Dot 180 grains. Goes in the battery just fine. And that's from a full magazine. Now, that doesn't really say that's how you should load it, just giving you an example that a lot of people are fretting about stuff they shouldn't be fretting about. Another thing to notice, not sure if this is just how I reload or if this is the design of the gun, but I also do this with a lot of other makes of guns except for 1911s because I just can't get them to do it. But I shoot IDPA, and working on speed reloads, you wind up getting your hands to work very quickly. And to give you an idea of how quick you can get it going, you can get it going so fast that it will actually jerk the gun, let the slide stop come down, and actually release the slide and chamber around. So that is one thing to take note, that I wouldn't focus an incredible amount on that. It works as long as you have a gun that's in spec. Speaking of which, 1911, some guys say it's too big for carry or whatever. This is my daily carry gun. Has a lot of wear and tear, as you can hopefully make out. But with that being said, this is a controlled feed gun. And what that basically means is that the gun controls the cartridge between the feed lips, the reach face, the feed ramp, and the chamber at least 3 of those points at any given point in time. Which basically means it's extremely resistant to limp wristing. And just to show an example, very same thing. The Kahr does not operate on controlled feed, nor does a Glock. They basically have a big hole and they chuck it in there. But it's still, as long as you have a gun that's in spec, all that stuff will work. And just to show you an example of that whole getting a slide to go forward on the reload thing, you really have to hammer on a 1911 to get to do that. I cannot do it all the time. But even at that point, when you're practicing a reload at the range or whatnot, just take your mag, you're referencing with your finger on the tip of the bullet, and the mag basically sitting in your palm, much like that. And you're basically guiding it, taking your index finger, putting it on the gun, and you're basically guiding the whole thing in and slamming it with your palm. Just like so. But if you notice, if you're using a proper two-hand grip, you have this big old wide open area. When you go up to get your hand up on high for support, your thumb bypasses the slide stop on almost every gun. So just throw it in there, hit it, and go. That is the same with every gun out there that I have really ever shot, for the most part, that has a slide stop available. Same thing with the Kahr. If you can't jam it home, or if your gun just doesn't do it for you, and you slam it home, look where your thumb is on your way up. So, just a little trick out there for some of the guys who don't do a whole lot of shooting that may save you a lot of time on learning how to do some reloads.